Asked about how such a material might end up in the dirt in soil samples separated by hundreds of miles out in the middle of nowhere, separated by years of time. The bottom line again, he didn't know what it was either. At his suggestion, we are now submitting a sample of this to an analysis firm in California. It's called activation analysis. It basically will tell you every atom that's in this stuff. I'm not sure that they say they cannot measure compounds, so I'm not sure that that's going to get to the bottom of it either. But at least it's the next step we're going to take, and I'll let you know what the results of when I get them. CBS, by the way, is interested in going along when this testing takes place. A few other points about what Dr. Simbakov has been working on. He has no explanation for why single-cell organisms leave the soil when these UFOs or alleged UFOs land down. They have no natural enemies to speak of. He doesn't understand it. A second finding, a final finding that he had, at these two UFO landing sites in Siberia, he found these microscopic worms in the soil around these alleged landing sites. The odd thing is, these particular worms are native to Central America, Mexico. And they don't occur naturally in Russia at all. It's as if a UFO had touched down in Mexico, perhaps to get a burrito or something for lunch, and then decided to zip over to Siberia and set down there, and it doesn't make any sense why those worms would be in the soil way out in the middle of Siberia, but he's got the samples anyway. Very strange.
But in the meantime, there are a lot of guys like myself, retired military, who are beginning to speak out about it. And I think the time has come. I think it's important that people know. So I've been active in UFO research for some time, ever since I learned this information in 1964. So I'm sure they know about it, and I haven't been, subtle about it. As I said, I'm still keeping a lot of secrets, and I still respect my security oath on practically every issue that I have ever sworn to. But this issue of the alien connection and the UFO matter is so important that really the governments have got to stop lying to their people. One of the things that angers me here in the United States is that the taxpayers in this country are paying all the bills. And I'm not sure whether you know this or not, but we're paying $50 billion a year to black budget programs. And a lot of them are involved in the alien UFO connection. And I think that's got to stop. You see, what you have happening here is that you have people making national policy with $50 billion a year at their disposal. What we've got here, whether we like it or not, is a government within a government. And I think the American people need to know that. The average person hasn't the slightest idea what's been going on in Washington. We have policy being made by people who were never elected. They're not responsible. They're not accountable. There's no oversight. Congress doesn't know where the money's going. And the decisions are being made on this particular subject that are affecting the future of every man, woman, and child in this country. And damn it, that's too important to keep these people. I'm under the impression, or I have always believed, that this was supposed to be a republic. This is a democratic system. We have a constitution. Well, with this UFO matter, we've got a whole bunch of guys back there who are absolutely ignoring the Constitution. And I think that's got to stop. Initially, the decision to keep the lid on this thing was a military decision. Of course, it was made right at the end of World War II. And we were in the middle of the Cold War. And probably the decision was a reasonable one at the time. But as they've learned more over the years, we've learned that we're not merely dealing with an extraterrestrial visitation here. This is not simply interplanetary visits. This is not simply interstellar or intergalactic. The latest developments that we have come up with, and I've talked to people who are inside the programs on this, who also feel as I do that they've got to be brought out, is we're dealing with intelligences out there that apparently are multidimensional. And some of these intelligences apparently have the ability not only to manipulate matter, but they can manipulate time. Now, the subject in itself has such an impact, or would have an impact on the world view, or the paradigm view of the average person out there, that if the whole truth were to be brought out, it literally would be earth-shaking. Well, one of the subjects that will be impacted probably the most with this new knowledge is the theological impact. The truth here is so incredible that it's going to have an impact on world religion. And that, I think, probably is one of the major single reasons why the governments, and I say governments in plural, have determined to keep the lid on this thing for a while, at least until they can get people a little bit more educated. Can you imagine the impact of some of this knowledge that might lead us to learn that the human race was perhaps seeded on this planet. The human race has been genetically manipulated on this planet for hundreds of thousands of years. And how do you suspect the average man might respond to the idea that every major religion on this planet has its origin somehow connected with this extraterrestrial connection? So I kind of understand to some degree the sensitivity of the subject and why those in power have decided that they just can't come out tomorrow morning on the national news and say, hey guys, have we got a story for you? This could be, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a proper term. Disturbing, earth-shaking. The facts of this thing, when it all comes out, I believe literally will bring about a paradigm shift in the consciousness of the human race.
Over the edge brings you another UFO.
Знай, что я к тебе приду, чтобы отвести беду. А мечту, ставшую судьбой, я приду праздновать с тобой. судьбой. Помни, что весной и вкрат я не поверну назад. Верю, ты не обманешь ни мечты, ни моих надежд. Помни, что любовь жива. Это не простые слова. Мне без тебя станет. Снова птицы в стае собираются.